Good morning, everyone, or afternoon now. Welcome to Bookkeepers on Fire. I'm Donna Reed, joined by my co host, Debbie Gilsheimer, and together we spotlight the bookkeepers and experts who keep businesses moving. This show is about you, the listener, the guest, the partner in raising the bar. We believe bookkeepers deserve to feel proud, confident, and seen. Each week, we share inspiring stories and practical insights from bookkeepers leading with strategy, heart, and purpose. We elevate your voice and give you tools to step fully into your value. So if you're ready to lead, serve with conviction, and redefine your role, you're in the right place. And our guest today is Jeremy Wells. We're honored to have him with us, and we can't wait for you to meet him. So let's ignite together.
Well, welcome everybody, and thanks for coming with us, joining us, Jeremy. Now, we've never met before, have we? Or have we?
I don't think so, but that's a shame. And apparently, we need to fix that pretty quickly since
Yes,
we're only a few miles down the road from each other.
it's only a few miles away from me. So, isn't that funny?
That's
I
right.
mean, like,
Yeah.
you know,
So, that's 21st century for you. Sometimes you need the internet to introduce you to somebody just a couple miles down the road.
I know. I mean, it's so funny. My husband sells on eBay, and he was shipping packages, and I go, this guy's package. He's in Ormond Beach. He could drive it there. Another one was for
Yep.
Florida.
Yep. 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 And it's the worst part of that is when you watch the tracking and you see packages go 3 or 4 states away and then they come right back because they've got to go through all the processing
You
facilities.
could have come and picked it up and saved the shipping.
Absolutely. And gotten it 3 days earlier too.
I know. Yeah, well, I think that's great. You're just down the street. Now, you're in St. Augustine. Now, for those of you that don't know, St.
That's
Augustine.
right. St. Augustine, Florida. Yeah, which we're about 45 minutes south of Jacksonville, if you don't know where that is. But yeah, it's the nation's oldest city. It's a where they say it's a drinking town with a fishing problem, and it's a tourism problem, I guess, is what you'd say. A lot of tourism, but it's a fun town. My wife and I were raising our daughter there. The county as a whole is seen a ton of growth over the last few years, and a lot of families moving in there. But then you also get the benefits of being close to the beach, having a lot of historical sites, a lot of fun stuff to do. 2 hours away from Disney at Orlando, if you care about that. So yeah, we enjoy it here. We've been in St. Augustine for about.
All of the stuff in Gainesville, like tubing down the itch. People don't realize there's a lot of fun stuff
That's right.
here.
That's right.
Nothing to do with the theme.
Absolutely. A few years ago, I went down to Crystal River for a conference, and I didn't swim with the manatees, but you can go down there and see the manatees. All kinds of stuff. So yeah, I mean, I'm originally from Kentucky and lived in and worked in Texas for a few years before coming to Florida. Glad to be here. Loving Florida.
I know. And St. Augustine is. I love how. In fact, when I was 18, I moved to Florida. Because when I was 18, my mom and dad took us here on Christmas vacation. And one of the places we stopped at was St. Augustine. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is gorgeous. And it's winter, and they're wearing shorts. I'm moving.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Shorts and T-shirts almost year round. Year round. There might be a few days in February, but yeah.
I mean, when do you dress up here in Florida? Yeah. I don't know. My husband, when he nobody dresses up. He has to wear when it gets cold out. He has to put his big boy pants on. So I have to wear long pants. I go.
That's right.
Nope, you don't.
And usually by about 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's too hot for that, and so you get back into the shorts. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Now, how long have you been an accountant? You said you were a teacher, and how did you switch to accounting?
Yeah, so originally the plan was law school coming out of college. I went into college thinking law school was going to be the way to go. I wanted to do, and I grew up watching Matlock. I thought litigation would be fun, but really what I wanted to do was write contracts. I didn't want to get up and argue. I wanted to do the kind of behind the scenes writing. I thought the legalese, the loopholes, closing those up, all that kind of stuff was fun. I ended up choosing grad school instead. I really enjoy. I went to a small liberal arts college. It didn't really have a pre-law program. I did what I thought was the closest thing to that by majoring in political science, and I ended up enjoying political science a lot, and so went to grad school for that. Got a PhD at LSU in political science, focusing on international politics. Went and taught that for a few years at Texas State University in San Marcos, which is central Texas, right between Austin and San Antonio. Lived there, did that for about 5 years. And the last couple of years of that, just realized that really wasn't for me. And thinking back to other ideas for career plans, and I remembered being interested in business and didn't want to do a lot more school. Didn't, after 6 years of grad school, I was pretty much done with that part of it. I didn't want to do law school, so instead I started learning accounting and went into that. Found a really good mentor, a CPA that was looking for people who were coming into the profession in a non-traditional way, right? Not accounting majors looking for internships and big four jobs, but those who are looking at it as a second, maybe third career. And so I fit the bill. We had a really good conversation, and that turned into him helping me get my small tax and advisory firm started up. And this was all 2017 is when we had the conversation, summer of 2017. And he said, I'll help you do all of this. But the first thing is you're going to need to be able to do all of the work that your clients are going to need you to do. And I thought he was talking about CPA, and I knew that was going to take a few more years. And he said, but there's this thing called being an enrolled agent. And that is something you can do on your own time. There's no education component to it. All you need to do is take these 3 exams and pass them. Turns out he had been an EA before he became a CPA. And so I said, that's fine. I found a cheap study guide that I could afford at the time. Studied for him, passed all 3 parts on the first go, got that done before the end of 2017. Let him know that I had passed all of that. And he said, great, I'll start sending you work. So when we got into 2018, he helped me get my virtual tax and advisory firm started up. He started forwarding referrals and leads to me, helped me get those set up. I started preparing his clients' returns. He was reviewing everything, of course, but that's how I got my initial experience. And I did that all through 2018. And 2018 is when we decided to move Florida. I left academia and went full time into accounting. So I've been doing that pretty much ever since, and primarily working with small business owners, helping them with the obviously tax preparation, but also tax planning, tax strategy, and then also doing accounting, bookkeeping, a little bit of what I refer to as light CFO. I don't get really big into GAAP accounting or anything like that, but small businesses, 6, low 7 figures. I'll help you break down the P&L and balance sheet, look at some comparisons, that sort of stuff, give you some ideas about what to do next for your business. So been doing that since 2018 and haven't looked back since.
Isn't it fun? I just love it.
I love it. When I was in academia, I enjoyed the public speaking part of it. I enjoyed the teaching part of it. I enjoyed the research part of it. But the what I got the most personal fulfillment out of was when students would come to me during office hours and we would have a chance to sit down one-on-one, and not the typical conversations of, I don't know why you graded me so harshly on this exam or this paper or whatever. But when they would come to me and have questions about, I don't know if this major is right for me. I don't know, what careers can I get from this major? if I want to do this, if I'm interested in that, should I take your class? Should I major in what you're teaching? These kinds of questions. And, we would do a lot. I would have 60 minutes planned of office hours. And sometimes we would sit there for 2 or 3 hours and just map out an entire student's future. A lot of times I don't know if they followed through with it. I don't know, what happened after that, after they, passed my class and moved on to future semesters. I don't know what happened after that. But I know those conversations where I felt like we had a connection, where I really helped them map things out, chart things out, that was always fulfilling for me. And I realized, through the work I was doing, or, at that point could be doing in accounting, working with small business owners, helping them think about their businesses, helping them think about their personal finances, is a lot of the same stuff,
Yeah,
right? I
yeah,
don't know if this business is right for me. I don't know if this profession is right for me. I don't know if I should start offering this service or that service. I don't know if I should focus on this niche or that niche. I don't know if I'm profitable or not. Yes, we've got to answer all the, is this deductible or not? Can I write this off on my taxes? All
right.
that sort of stuff. And that's all fine. That's what we're here to do. But when we have the opportunities to have those bigger, deeper conversations about the future, that's really the most rewarding part of the job for me.
I agree. I mean, everybody has to have
Absolutely.
their taxes
Yeah.
done, but if we can take it to the next level, like you're doing,
Yeah,
I mean, I hope
absolutely.
it makes all the difference. And I think a lot of clients don't even realize we can do that for them because all they think about is getting a tax return done. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think, talking to other accountants, I think, we're always nervous, and rightfully so, right? We have our professional ethics, we have our best practices, we have our due diligence requirements. And so we're always worried about professional liability. We're always worried about being held accountable for every decision that the client's going to make. But at some point, we need to take some ownership and recognize that, for the most part, for a lot of our clients, we are the advisor in their lives that's
yep,
going to have the most impact on their life, whether we want to recognize that or not. If they have a problem in their business, if they have a problem with their taxes, if they have a problem with trying to get a mortgage, if they have a problem, with anything that even comes close to being related to their personal finances, they're going to come talk to us,
yep,
right? And they're going to look to us for guidance on that. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean we always have to have the answers, and it absolutely doesn't mean that we're always the best one to provide those answers. We might need to refer them to a good insurance agent, to a good mortgage broker, to a good tax resolution specialist, or find them a fractional CFO if their business needs that, a good
hmm,
attorney. We're constantly referring our clients to attorneys and financial advisors, right? But we need to be in the position to be heading up that sort of thinking and advice finding for our clients. They're always going to, they're 9 times out of 10, they're going to come to us first.
yep,
And even if we can't find the answer, we need to be responsible for finding somebody who can answer those questions for them.
right. We want to be the first call they make when they need help with something that's financial.
Absolutely.
We don't want to do it like I was
Yeah.
talking to one of my clients the
And
other
I
day.
would,
Go ahead.
yeah. Well, I would just take that, even one step further. And, I want accountants to uh, not be afraid, right, to get the financial reward, right, get paid for the value that they bring to their clients. And so, of course, we're going to worry about out of scope work. Of course, we're going to worry about how do we get paid for our knowledge, for our advice. What I have always avoided in my own business, this is the way my mentor started me off in this profession, was not, I've never billed for time. I've never billed for forms. I've never done any of
Good
that
for
kind of
you.
stuff, right? What I have always done, yeah, what I have always done is what I would consider subscription,
Right.
right? And so my clients have
Mhm.
always paid me a flat fee, and within that, I carefully delineate, right? These are the things I'll do. These are the things I won't do. I won't be responsible for. But within this framework of this is what I will do, I always leave some room for, I will help you with this, or if I can't help you, I'll find somebody who can help you, those sorts of things. And because my clients are on that, monthly flat fee subscription, there's never a concern that if they call me up because they've got a question and they're not sure if something is deductible, or they're not sure if I'm the right person to do this, or if they need to talk to an attorney or talk to an insurance person, right? That's all fine. You've already paid me for that, right? You don't
Right.
need to worry about getting an invoice for that 30-minute phone call. You don't need to worry about getting a bill later on. It's already included. Now, if you're not on that model yet, it's not something you can just switch to overnight. I understand that. But I would urge you to just start thinking about how can I move in that direction to where clients don't see me as, just another invoice in the
Mhm.
mail, but how do they see me as that trusted advisor? And, I compare it a lot to a Netflix subscription, right? If you're paying for Netflix is there, and Netflix is taking your money whether you watch movies on Netflix or
Yep.
not, right?
Yep.
They don't care, right? We actually care, right? And so when I collect my client's monthly payment, I want them to ask me questions. I don't want them to come to me 6 months later saying, "Hey, I already did this. How do we make this work for my
Right.
taxes?" I want you to talk to me when you do
Or
it,
you
or
do it.
preferably before you do it.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly, right? So let me be part of your team. Let me be part of your thinking process. And don't be afraid to bring those questions to me. And definitely don't be afraid of, getting a bill in the mail because you asked me some questions. I have gotten clients that I got to meet through networking, through local functions, whatever. And at the time, they were working with other accountants. This happened during the pandemic quite a bit. I got a few clients that came to me specifically because it was the same story from about 3 different clients that came to me. And I had already known them a year or two before they came to me and became clients. But they told me, look, when all of that EIDL, PPL, ERC, when all of that was coming out, I had no idea what any of that was. So what did I do? I called my accountant. I called my CPA. I called my tax advisor to ask them about it. And 2 weeks later, I got a bill in the mail, right, for a 20-minute phone call just for them to tell me that I probably wouldn't be eligible for any of it, right?
Right.
And they billed me for that. And I don't want to have to deal with that. And I remember you saying at that networking event that you don't bill for that stuff. So can I work with you instead? Right. And so it was just, that the pandemic was bad in a lot of ways, but there was a silver lining to it for our profession, in that I think it opened a lot of practitioners' eyes to the importance of being that trusted advisor, that
Mhm.
first phone call when the world feels like it's falling apart, right? You know, other than your family and closest friends, right? Who can you count on to be on your side?
Right.
And if it's not your accountant, if it's not your tax advisor, right, then it should be. Yeah.
That's great. Because I know we've always had that philosophy. You pay one flat
Yeah.
rate, and it includes everything except the things that we cannot do. And what I don't want to do
Right.
audits. So if you get audited by you need an audit for, an audit. We're not going to do that.
Yeah.
I can work with an auditor, and I'll
Right.
find you an auditor, but I'm not
And
going to do.
that's the thing, right? Is you don't want me to do that because that's not what I specialize
And then
in.
I'm
We
not
had a client about
paying
6 months
anymore, so I
ago
really can't do
that,
an audit. But
Yeah.
I can make it where the
well, right.
goes easy. In fact, I just went through an audit with one of my clients.
I will, yeah, absolutely. I will find somebody who is going to be a lot better than I ever could be at getting that done
And you just said,
for
yeah,
you. We had a client about 6 months ago. Yeah, right. Client about 6 months ago that got very frustrated with us and ended up leaving because they uploaded a brokerage statement that was addressed to a trust that we didn't know about. And it turns out that that client was the beneficiary of a trust set up by his parents. And the client said, "Oh, I just figured y'all would prepare, whatever needs to happen for that too." We didn't know anything about this trust. the people that set the trust up weren't clients of ours, and we don't do trust returns. We don't do trust and estate work in our firm. We work with small business owners. And so we told them, this is not work we do. And they said, yeah, but we just want a one-stop shop. You're accountants, you're tax professionals, you should be able to do this. I'm sorry, we don't. And they ended up going somewhere else. But I'm not going to start doing work that I don't feel qualified to do, that I don't feel like I've been properly trained and experienced to do, just because you think I should be able to do that for you.
I know. I mean, I don't walk into Morton's Steakhouse and order sushi.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%.
There you go.
Yeah.
I do it. I'm very good at what
and that's, yeah.
That's great.
And there's another example analogy there that I've heard a lot when it comes to thinking about the way we're doing our firms. Now, look, I enjoy going to a nice steakhouse. I take my wife out and we get a date night every now and then. I take her out to a nice steakhouse or a nice Asian restaurant, whatever. But, we also go to McDonald's. We also go to Chick-fil-A, right? There's a time and a place for that. And there's a time and a place for high value, high quality. I think that, as a business owner, as, just as a taxpayer, right, you have to be intentional. You have to think about, is my tax return, is my monthly financial statements for my business, is the cash flow analysis to know if my business is going to survive another 6 months or not. If I'm trying to apply for, a line of credit that is going to keep my business in operation for the next 6 months, do I want that to be a McDonald's experience, or do I want that to be a nice steakhouse experience?
Yep.
Is it going to cost more? Heck yes. Is that going to be a memorable experience that you're going to guarantee is going to go well? Yes, it is. Right. And so, I try to think of my firm as providing that sort of experience. Not to say that there's anything wrong with other kinds of experiences that your firm or your business wants to offer. That's just not what I'm for. But the market needs all of it. Right?
Yep.
And so, just you have to be intentional, though, about what you're trying to do. I see a lot of firm owners that they're working with clients that expect McDonald's prices, but then they want steakhouse quality.
Yep.
That's not their fault, right? They've been trained that's available on your menu. You need to be clear with them, right?
Yeah.
That we don't serve that on this menu, right? That's your responsibility to make it clear to your clients where they're, who they're dealing with, what they can expect.
Exactly. And you communicate that in the initial conversation and how you talk to them. I know when they walk in and they say, well, the person down the street charged $100. Well, we start at 15.
Yeah.
But then you get this. I said,
that's fine.
And I do the McDonald's analogy too. I said, there's McDonald's and there's Morton's Steakhouse.
Yeah.
They both feed you. What kind of experience do you want?
Absolutely.
We give you the Morton's experience.
Absolutely.
So if you want McDonald's, there's people out there that will do it. Well, I wanted the Morton's experience. Well, then it costs money.
It's again, my family and our daughter, our 8-year-old daughter, there are a few things in this world that she loves more right now than a McDonald's Happy Meal. Right. And so I'm happy to occasionally oblige that. Right. And take her to McDonald's. We don't go every night, of course, but I'm not going to tell her, no, we can't do that because we're too good for that either. Right. There is a balance and there's a time and place for that.
Right. Well, my husband goes to McDonald's for his breakfast sandwich every morning. He loves his McDonald's Egg McMuffin with the folded egg, not the round egg. He has to substitute.
There you go. Okay.
Wherever I go, McDonald's just keeps coming back to me in the conversation. For those that don't know, I was very much involved with McDonald's for the first 20 years of my career.
Yeah, she worked there. She was she did.
I owned a few.
To bring this back to what we're talking about. I mean, I know my business partner. She got started with one of the retail tax prep chains. I know lots of tax professionals. Some tax professionals that I would trust to do my own return, that I consider friends, mentors, colleagues, that I get some of my continuing education from, that they teach. They got their starts in the sort of big box retail
Yeah.
tax prep companies. There again, there's a time and a place for that. And as tax law becomes more and more complicated, uh, and as more and more taxpayers are going to need some option that isn't just self-preparing, right? But they also don't have the complications
Right.
of being business owners, having a portfolio of rental properties, having a complicated estate, that they're managing. They're going to be the vast overwhelming majority of taxpayers that don't have those complexities that make them a good client for my firm. But at the same time, they just don't want to do it themselves, right? And I respect that. And so there needs to be an option for them. What we have to be careful about, though, is that the expectations set by those providers in our space need to stay the expectations of those providers and not spill over into the way that we run our firms and that we interact with our clients.
Right.
We need to provide a higher value service, but at the same time, we need to make sure that we're getting a better return from our clients than what we'd expect working for those kinds of providers.
Right. Right. That's great. I mean, that's what Don and I preach all the time. So you fit right in.
Yeah. It's like, okay,
Nice.
well, we don't need to talk very much
Absolutely.
today.
Now you're in Orlando right now at a conference. Tell us what conference you're at.
Yeah. So, and if the quality seems off, or the background here, I'm not in my usual office, unfortunately, but the just due to scheduling. But I'm in Orlando, just a couple hours drive down south from home, with my business partner, and we are at the International Builders Show. I believe that's what it's called, IBS, and it's National Association of Home Builders. Now, one of our niches in our firm is working with trades and home services. It's Florida. We run our air conditioners almost year round. So HVAC companies, plumbers, electricians, craftsmen, handymen, those types that generally tend to be self-employed. The smaller operations, they don't have big back offices. They don't have the sort of infrastructure and support that they need. We provide that to them through our firm. And so Steadfast Accounting is our firm. It was Steadfast Bookkeeping. We're actually going through a branding change to be Steadfast Accounting to better reflect the services that we provide. We do offer tax prep, tax advisory, tax strategy, along with bookkeeping and other accounting functions. And so Steadfast Accounting is really a better label for what we do. But because of that, we're here at this conference, and we're just here to learn. This is a very different environment from what we're used to. We go to a lot of conferences, probably each of us separately, probably goes to 3 or 4 conferences a year for tax professionals, accounting professionals. I love a good tax and accounting conference. I love meeting up with colleagues in person. I started in 2018, 2019. And so most of the time that I've been in this profession so far has been through the pandemic. There were a few years there, when I really got going and I really started, meeting other professionals online. We couldn't meet in person. And then the last couple of years, thankfully, that's opened back up. So I love going to these conferences. This conference is very different, though. We're pilgrims in an unholy land here, right? This is all new to us, but in order for us to best serve and best attract that niche, that kind of client that we want, we've got to see the world the way they see it. We've got to think about the things that they're talking about. We've got to address the concerns that they have when it comes to finances, to management, to accounting, right? And so, believe it or not, at a conference for home builders and trades and craftspeople, they have panels, they have sessions on cost accounting, on cash flow management, those sorts of issues. And so one thing that we're interested in is, who's teaching this and what are they teaching, right? Because we talk about these things as accountants, amongst each other, and we talk about them with our clients, but we want to see, who's teaching this to our prospective clients. And then we also want to know, just what are they concerned about? What are they talking about? What are the terms and the terminologies and the phrasing that they use? Because when we communicate with them, whether they're current clients or prospective clients, we want to be able to relate to them. That's actually one of the 3 values that we have for our firm. Our third value is that we want to be relatable. We want to talk the way our clients do. We don't want to be talking over their heads. We don't want to be using fancy accounting terminology that they're not supposed to understand, that they don't even really need to understand. One of the roles that we have in our firm, we're a relatively small firm. We're just 9, including my business partner and me. And so we have 9, but 3 of those are what we call a client success manager, a CSM. The marketing and advertising agencies would call this an account manager. These individuals are responsible for maintaining the relationship with our clients. And they are not accountants. They're not licensed. They're not practicing. Their job is to take our answers to their questions that the technical staff, the tax preparers, the bookkeepers give, and literally translate that into the outgoing communication. So we pretty much minimized, almost completely eliminated the technical staff talking directly with clients. And instead, all of that communication flows through those CSMs so that we're using their language, so that the explanations aren't over their head, so that it makes sense. And that's been a huge game changer. We've done that for about
That's a great
18 months in
idea.
our firm now. Yeah.
Now you said that
Yeah.
was the third.
And we've done that for
What
about
are the
18
other
months
two?
now.
What are the other 2? You said that was the third one. What are the other 2?
Now you put me on the spot, and I'm not going to be able to remember them. um,
All right.
but yeah. I think that one. I really can't remember the other 2 now. I would have been able to if you
Well,
hadn't asked me. But
that's a good point.
the but I will, they're on our website, and I will look them up. But no, I mean that's really to me the most important one.
Right.
Because I've been in that situation where running my firm by myself, I was solo for a long time, and I knew as soon as I sent that message off to a client, they're not going to understand this. This is not going to be helpful. I didn't know how else to phrase it. But I also at the same time knew it wasn't going to make sense to them. And that's not effective communication. That's not a good client experience.
Right.
And so, yeah, we definitely wanted to make sure that was part of it. But yeah, so that's what we're doing here. We went a little bit this morning. Like I said, it's a strange new world for us because we're not here seeing colleagues talking about tax and accounting nerdy stuff. We're passing vendors that are trying to sell doors and windows, and new heating ducts and all kinds of weird stuff to us. But at the same point, we're getting a lot of good intelligence, a lot of good understanding of where they're coming from, what they're thinking about, what they're concerned about, and from that, figuring out ways that we can better help them.
That's a great idea. Well, can you believe it? We're at time.
Yeah, but one thing, so I looked it up. I went to your website real quick and looked it up. Number 3 was relatable. Number 1
There you
is
go.
proud. Take pride in your work. And number 2 is authentic. Wonderful. I mean, isn't that what we do every day? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Appreciate you looking those up. Yeah, thank you.
The 3 went out there.
But
So I'm
Jeremy,
like,
we
well,
can't
that's
thank you
serious.
enough. We can't thank you enough for taking your time, especially because you're traveling and at this conference, meeting new customers and everything, to come and talk with us today. So,
I definitely appreciate y'all having me.
anybody,
This has been fun.
yeah, this is great. I when you come home, you can stop in Port Orange and we'll do lunch or something.
Absolutely. Will do. I'll let you know.
Oh, great. All right, Donna, sign us off.
All right. Well, thank you all for being here today. So, thank you for joining Bookkeepers on Fire. If today's conversation sparks something in you, take it forward into your work, into your voice, and into your value. Until next time, lead boldly, serve with purpose, and keep the fire burning. Guys, have a great week.
Thanks again, Jerry.